Hi everyone, Adrian from Audio Excellence, Lewis to my right. Mike is not feeling well, so he's not going to join us this morning, but he is monitoring the cameras as well as Curtis. So we're going to talk about the Sonus Faber Maxima Amator, which we received about 10 days ago or so, however long it's been, maybe longer actually. You can see the unboxing video, which either Mike or Curtis will put a link in the description. Just some quick notes about the speakers. They're two-way. You use a 1 1 inch silk dome tweeter, 1 7-inch paper pulp mid-woofer. Incidentally, both the tweeter and the mid-woofer driver are from the AIDA 2. So it's in fact directly from the top of the line speaker. It's rated from 35 to 35,000 cycles, 88 dB sensitivity, 4 ohms, 38 kilograms or 83.8 pounds, and it sells for $16,000 US. What makes the speaker unique in the Sonus Faber series is that this is the series where they use solid walnut cabinets. So all the other speakers use wood finishes, but it's based around either MDF or HDF, but this particular series uses all solid staves of walnut. So it looks absolutely gorgeous if you like wood, and if you like Italian hand work at its finest, this is the series to buy. It also, of course, uses full leather on the front. It has a beautiful piece of stone at the bottom, and you will see metal inserts and details around the speaker. The cabinet is sectioned into three compartments. The upper compartment houses the mid-range and tweeter and is designed to optimize the performance of the mid-range woofer driver. The second cabinet, which is basically roughly about halfway down, is filled with dampening and mass loading material to give the speaker more stability, lower the center of gravity, and of course lower resonance. And then finally, towards the very back of the cabinet, you will see, if you turn the speaker around, you will see there's a glass window that showcases the crossover, and that is the third compartment. They do it this way so that the crossover is away from and separated from any vibrations or magnetic interactions between the drivers and the crossover. Okay, Lewis.
Okay, so firstly, it's a beautiful cabinet, really stunning Italian handcraft for sure. Sorry, Mike, you didn't participate. Yeah. Even you're Italian, so. Anyways, I listened to various songs, but I decided, go nostalgic some of the way. Going back to my youth, the first song I played was Nina Simone's I Loves You, Porgy. The first time I heard this song was back in the 70s, but an instrumental played by the great Grover Washington. Instrumental saxophone. He was a fantastic saxophone player, which came into his own in the early 70s, and he was very popular until his passing. Anyways, this song here, it brings out her sultry, what would I say, her voice and the work of her piano playing on this track. It just highlighted how good these speakers are. The piano, the striking, you could hear the note. It's like she was in the room recording that song, even though it's not the greatest of recording, because these recordings are old, but it still brought out the beautiful mid-range from the piano strikes and the other backing instruments in this song. The soundstage, wide as usual, high, center image, fantastic. No complaints there. The second song was really when I was a kid. My dad used to play Nat King Cole. He has become my favorite singer of all time. This track I played was Rambling Rose. It's one of these songs with the lyrics that brings out it's a love song where, his, like, this lady he loves just, keeps rambling along, going along, and he just lost this rambling rose.
Kind of hold on to her.
Yeah. But, his voice is like velvet. His piano playing is, he was rated as one of the top jazz pianists around in his era, in the top 3, and wasn't known for his singing abilities, but my gosh, that's a good trade-off here. Giving up playing the piano and have that velvet voice, which up to this day is still renowned as one of the best. To me, he's the best of all time.
Do you remember Gentleman Jim?
Yes. Jim Reeves, yes.
Well, his was the first rendition I heard of Rambling Rose.
Oh, I don't know that.
Yes.
I don't know that one. But in Jamaica, I remember on Sundays they used to play a lot of gospel songs, and Gentleman Jim Reeves was there. He, to me, was like the white Nat King Cole. No, seriously, a fantastic voice. Not overly well played today, but going back.
Nobody remembers that.
Well, I do because, of course,
You're old. So am I. That's why we remember it.
Yeah, but you see, when you said Gentleman Jim, I knew exactly who you were talking about. But yeah, nostalgia is something where I even at home I play. My kids even request that I play these songs, and I'm going, what?
I can sense the thousands of viewers just turning off. Jim Reeves, who the hell are they talking about? Jim Reeves.
He had a wonderful voice. I think
That's one way to lose subscribers.
I think Jim Reeves played country as well, but
He was.
yeah,
He was primarily country. Yeah.
yeah, but religious songs, yes. So, anyways, my third song, which I'll talk about here, was fairly well in the 80s. Gladys Knight song with Gladys Knight and the Pips. The song Overnight Success. Beautiful song. Of course, Gladys has one of the most beautiful voices to me. That single I heard on a CD when I was in Florida back in the 80s, when CDs were just coming out, and I was buying some CDs down there to bring back in Canada. I doubt if it was available here as yet. But from the album All Our Love, a great album to listen to. It just starts off with an instrumental, and with Gladys coming in, leading, and the backup vocals from the Pips. It's just a great track. And it just brought out so much energy from the speakers. I will finish here for that, but in a wrap-up, I will give you my most honest opinion. I'll turn it back over to.
You didn't mention Morrison at all?
No. I actually I have not played that song.
Hey, my band's actually working.
I haven't played that song for a long time.
So as usual, he's teasing. I'm going to be short, sweet, and direct for once in my life. We'll see how long that lasts. I'll give you my conclusion right away. This is both the easiest and the most difficult review I've ever done. I'll explain it. When we unbox the speaker and put them in the first room, the front room, it's a small 10 by 12 with 20-foot ceilings. We usually use that room when we have clients who come in, they've got condos or small rooms, and we want to try and sort of simulate that space. We put speakers in there, electronics, and so because all the other rooms are occupied, we put the speakers in there to break in, and immediately, as soon as we hooked them up, I thought they were just absolutely magical. They were sublime. Cold, didn't matter. They just sounded, there was just something very right about them, something so beguiling, so attractive, so enticing, so engaging. And I never stopped listening. Every morning I would come in and I would spend a few minutes, sometimes hours, listening as they broke in. And it never really changed all that much. They continued to just get better. But frankly, right off the bat, I fell in love. Philip used to use the word organic, and I banned it because every video was organic. Well, that's a great way to describe these speakers. They have such a beautiful, very natural quality about it. You can't necessarily say that it's neutral because I don't know what that means. I wasn't part of the recording process. I don't know. Well, all I can tell you is that regardless of what I threw at it, the speakers sounded beautiful. In that sense, they remind me of the old Sonus Faber, Generation 1, Generation 2, up till maybe about 1996, 97, thereabouts, under the watchful eyes of the founder, Franco. The speakers have this beautiful warmth, but not that really thick richness that the old ones did. The old ones came to fame because they were so beautiful sounding. But they were also very limited in that they could not play rock very well. They couldn't play big jazz dynamics or classical, large-scale classicals. But if you play small orchestral, small acoustic, they would just melt you with their sweetness and their beauty. These take some of that without losing the core and the necessary, call it MSG, if you will, just a little bit, but with much more modern neutrality and the ability to handle deep bass very tightly, powerfully, dynamically, with a harmonic tone that's slightly rich but never too much. It's like a beautiful cup of coffee with maybe a lump of sugar. It was never too much. So I absolutely fell in love. And then when we moved the speakers into this room, that love affair continued. In fact, if anything, even more so, because now we have the big boy electronics in here. We've got way more space. We can play them louder, and I did. So I was teasing Lewis about not playing Morrison because he always plays Morrison, especially when people come to visit. That's his first track. So I played Morrison Toccata. And for those of you who don't know, you think that he only is known for that one track, try this one, Toccata, and it is absolutely stunning. Again, as usual, deep, powerful bass, very dynamic. It's an interesting take on Bach's Toccata and Fugue, just absolutely gorgeous. Big, huge soundstage, deep, powerful, dynamic, clear, never loses its composure while it's doing all of this. In this sense, it's literally almost perfect. Another cut to try, Aeon by Power Glove. Again, this amazing, deep, powerful bass goes all the way down. You never sense that, you never ever feel like you're missing anything. It's just so competent in all the ways. In the mid-range, this is where they do what Sonus Faber does so beautifully and so well. Ever since, I guess, the early 2000s, or maybe even a bit later than that, Sonus Faber has continually made the mid-range even more transparent, even more beautiful, losing some of the original richness, the original thickness, but without losing, without being threadbare, without being thin, without being analytical. And this continues the tradition. In this sense, it sounds very much in the mid-range like the Serafinos and the Amatis, which many of you know I love. The highs, again, absolutely gorgeous, sweet, extended. No harshness unless the recording is particularly bright. And even then, it doesn't exaggerate it. No sibilance, again, unless it's specifically in the recording and bright and harsh. As Lewis mentioned, the soundstage just completely, the speakers just completely disappear. You could stare right at the speakers, it doesn't matter. It's just not there. What you get is this beautiful, huge tapestry of sound, and very deep and very layered if it's in the recording. I mentioned about dynamics. I'll give you one example. Stravinsky's Firebird Suite 4 with Robert Shaw and the Atlantic Symphony Orchestra. When the big bass drums come in, you get stunned. You cannot believe that this little two-way speaker can produce that kind of dynamics with that kind of power and that kind of conviction. And all through the brass, the strings, they don't collapse. Sometimes when a speaker is starting to get to its limits, soundstage will collapse or things start sounding bright. These speakers never did. Now, let's talk about, for me, the one thing, you know, as I said earlier, very difficult to review for me. I kept trying to find something I didn't like. And ultimately, the one negative comment that I can have, and it's really not negative, it's really more the limitation of the speaker. If I played recordings with really big bass and played it simultaneously at very high levels, yes, the woofer will start bottoming out. And that's when you realize it's reached its limits. But I have to be clear to say that we're talking at pretty high volumes with recordings that have a lot of deep, powerful bass. Short of that, I can't find anything specifically wrong that I don't like about the speakers. They are everything that I would want in a speaker, and at the same time that looks gorgeous and small so that they can fit into a huge variety of rooms. Okay, Lewis, your conclusion.
My conclusion is it's the best two-way speaker I have heard. It is so fabulous that one client came in here and he heard another speaker, which I won't name, in the other room, in the AV room, and he says, "That's good." And then he came in here and he heard this and he goes, "I am very sorry, but I cannot unhear what I've heard." And he goes, "How much are those?" So I gave him the US price. And it's something that he will consider for one of his systems at home. So by far, it's the best sounding two-way speakers I have ever heard, by far. The clarity, no sibilance in the top end, and as Adrian said, if you do get anything there, it's definitely the recording. It's not the speaker who is just playing that outright. By far, it's the best two-way speakers I've ever heard. And I've heard it now on 2 different systems, and when it was in the front room with the Acufees, it sounded fantastic. Coming in here and hearing it on the big boy here, the Griffin, I'm just going, wow. It's just a wow. And if anybody comes and hears this speaker here, you will fall in love. Yeah. It may not have the big bass if you're looking like something like a Wilson speaker or whatever it is, but for finesse, it has it all, believe it or not. It's just not overpowering. It just has one mid-range driver, so I mean, come on. But overall, best I have heard.
Would you say, though, that you miss, quote-unquote, bass?
No.
Well, this is it. That's my point. When you're listening to recordings that have that bass, it's just there. It may not necessarily blow you away with the bass, but you're not thinking about it. It's just so right. There's something very right about the sound that you don't miss anything. And this is what makes it so interesting at the speaker. And it sounds so magical at any volume level. That's another thing that's interesting. Some systems you need to play it at certain volumes and then the magic really comes out. With these, I could play it at low or high volumes. It just has this remarkable quality.
Oh, it's by far, as I'll back up from what I have heard. I'm telling you, people, this thing is a killer. It's not only the Maxima Amator, it's the maximum. It's awesome.
Yeah, I now wish we had done this review earlier when it first came out. We just never got around to it, and then when we did get a pair, it was sold. And anyway, long story short, I regret that we didn't make it more of a priority to do the review, because I can only imagine how many more people we could have introduced these speakers to. They are absolutely superb. A lot of people will say, well, I would like to get that kind of sound out of a small bookshelf and then just add a subwoofer. I don't know how you can get this kind of blend and this kind of magic out of a really good two-way small speaker, stand-mounted speaker, and then add a sub. It would be very, very difficult. Somehow the designers, engineers at the factory, God was smiling down on them when they got this together, because the end result is just absolutely superb.
I agree.
I mean, we have speakers, as Lewis mentioned, in another room where they have way more bass, or another room that has way more highs or way more detail and so on. And yet somehow the magical proportions of ingredients aren't quite there. Whereas this, for me, this is absolutely wonderful. And yes, it's a lot of money. $16,000 is a lot of money. But again, always trying to put things in context. I can't think of any other $16,000 speaker that I would much rather take home and enjoy. These are just absolutely superb. They fit the aesthetics. They make me absolutely smile and enjoy the workmanship every time I look at the speakers. They're stunning, and you can see, without knowing very much about how things are made, just by looking at them, you know these things are very unique and very special. Anyway, that's a wrap up. Thank you very much for watching. If you've heard these speakers, please tell us what you think. Good or bad, doesn't matter. I've seen in the unboxing video, a whole bunch of people have said that they own the speakers and they absolutely love it. Congratulations. I see why you love them. And for those of you who've not heard recent Sonus Fabers, you owe it to yourself. Before you spend your money, again, we're not necessarily able to help you. But as fellow audiophiles and music lovers, I strongly recommend go find a pair, listen to them, and see what you think. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye now.